1988 once again marked a big year for thrash metal as Megadeth released their follow-up to Peace Cell's So Far So Good So What. Although initially well held by critics, it has seen some criticism over the years, but now is coming back into fan favor. However, many have taken note for the 2004 remaster, which sounds very, very different to the original 1988 mixes. Originally mixed by Paul Lonnie, but then discarded, as Mustaine said, for a different engineer because of the too muddy sound. We'll take a look at what the 1988 release sounds like and then the 2004 remaster and see if we can spot the differences. Go ahead in the comment below, tell me which one do you think sounds better. This one's a little more up in the air, as the Peace Cells one seems to be overwhelmingly hated by fans, the remaster that is, but the remaster for So Far So Good So What seems to has divided fans, as it includes more clear production, better guitar tones, and better drum sounds than the original 1988 mix. So let's get into the DAW here and break down the differences of these two masters and see which one is better for the genre. Alright, I'm back in my DAW here. At the top, I have the 1986, or I should say 1988 master of So Far So Good So What, and then I have the 2004 remaster here on the bottom. So let's hear really quickly the song Set the World Afire from the 1988 mix. Here's the 2004 mix. Okay, so those are some brief previews there. I wanted to start off with the intro Into the Lungs of Hell because there's actually some big differences in arrangement here. So let's listen to the 1988 version. Here's what it sounds like. This is the very first track on the record. So we've got some electrics and acoustics. Some like orchestral elements. Let's see what the 2004 sounds like. So notice that they've added these horn sections in here, or maybe they were in so low in the 1988 that no one ever noticed, but it is very apparent that they have been boosted in this version. I'll let you hear it again. In the 2004, there's a so they added that into the song Into the Lungs of Hell, and so I thought that was an interesting addition. Not too many ways we can break down the sound differences, but as we get into Set the World Afire and In My Darkest Hour, we will be able to tell some pretty big differences here. So here's Set the World Afire. Here is the 1988 version. We can get a pretty good look at what the guitar tone is. So the 2004 one is more present. The overall, that master is louder as well. I brought down the volume a little bit to give us an equal volume, but just to note, the 2004 remaster is much louder, as that was what the trend was at that time. It seems there is some more mid-range in the guitar tone. Seems to be a theme for all the Megadeth remasters, is this sort of very much a boost of like lower mid-range in all the guitar tones. Yeah, the guitars are a bit thinner. I don't have one preference over the other. I don't think it's that bad, not as egregious as the Peace Cells remaster that we listened to. We hear the snare sound pretty clearly. It's a more 80s, you could say dated snare sound. I think the vibe is cool. The 2004 one, it has a more modern sound. Overall, the 88 one is kind of wider. There seems to be some chorus on the guitar tone. It overall has a more vibey feel than the 2004 one. The 88 one seems actually a little bit wider in this case. It sounds like the drums could have been replaced with samples, or they're EQ'd quite a bit differently here. You can see the snare sound is quite different. The drums are much drier. There's a lot less atmosphere and reverb on the 2004 remaster, pulled back a lot more than even what we got on the Peace Sells one. The vocals very clear and upfront, not a lot of reverb. On 2004, let's listen to the 88. Okay, lots of reverb, delay. They're pushed back a little bit. This seems to be the theme with the remasters, is Dave wanting to get vocals up front and present, not a lot of reverb. He pulls the reverb out of, most instruments. The drums have samples, are a lot drier, and there seems to be added low mids to the guitars, and the bass is overall boosted. It has that 80s, authentic thrash metal sound. You can like it or dislike it, but that was the sound of the time, and I think it fits that a record should sound like the era it comes from, in a sense, right? You can't rewrite history and just remaster a record over and over again to make it sound like the productions of that time. That's what makes the record sound what it is. I don't want them to change the production to that much of an extent. I do have to give them a lot of credit though. Unlike the Peace Sells remaster, where the attempt was to make everything clear and upfront, but it ended up sounding really bad in the end and actually muddier. What they did with this So Far So Good remaster, which I've listened to both a ton, by the way, back when the only one on YouTube Music was the original for So Far So Good So What, I listened to it a ton. At least it's a better listening experience. It actually is clearer. You actually can hear things a lot better. The 88 one is a bit cloudy. It's a bit all over the place. It's a bit vibey. There's a lot of reverb. Overall, I think I prefer the vibier one because that's just my preference in production. But at least when they remaster this one, unlike the Peace Sells one or the Rust in Peace one, you do get increased clarity. You can hear things a little better balanced, and I think that's a big point towards the remaster. The drums sound really weak, but everything is clear. You can actually hear it. Let's go to the end of the track. Like you can hear the guitar solos are up front. Like the vocals are particularly quiet on the 88 version. So an interesting difference there. Let's look at the outro. The 2004 version has this feedbacked outro here. So the feedback lasts a lot longer on this 2004 version, which is interesting. I wonder if that was originally in there. Did he add things? I have some questions about that, but because it seems like the guitars are just sustaining in the 88 one. The 2004 one, there's clearly like some feedback added. Maybe that was always the intention. I'm not sure, but that is an interesting difference. Let's look at the song In My Darkest Hour. Biggest difference, 2004 version has an included acoustic guitar intro. Now, I've heard that this intro was always intended to be on the record. For some reason, it didn't make it, and the production skills are better now, and so Dave always wanted it there. Personally, I don't mind the acoustic intro. I think it sounds fun. When I remastered the album myself and I took the original 1988 recordings, I actually added this modern acoustic guitar intro to that because I like it so much. So this is one of the few additions that Dave does. Usually I don't like it when he messes with the original. I don't like it at all, but I do actually really like the acoustic intro. It's a really good kind of lead into the track as opposed to the 88 one. You are just kind of sent right into it, which is kind of cool, but I don't mind it. It's one of those few changes that doesn't irk me as much. There are acoustics on the 88, just we don't get that intro exactly. But very similar production as what we heard before. Reverby, kind of all over the place. You know, not as good sonic quality, you could say. That snare is very big and reverby, right? Very 80s sounding. I must say this one is still pretty smashed. It's still pretty limited. That is annoying me a bit. It feels like the track doesn't have a lot of room to breathe. Not as bad as Peace Sells was. It's crushed, but still pretty compressed. It just doesn't have a lot of dynamic. Especially the drums, they really just kind of get squished and like pushed to the back in a way that I'm not really a big fan of. Guitar's more present, vocal clear and up front. Much more 80s. It does feel much more scooped than the 2004. It sounded like they added a lot of mid-range to the 2004. Let's go to the breakdown part at the end here. 2004 version. I must admit, I do appreciate the 2004 clarity a bit. It is kind of nice to have that. You can hear everything really well. The 88 version, it's not the clearest, most like audiophile, enjoyable listening experience, but it's got vibe, and I think you can't beat that. And I don't understand why you need to mess with that. The guitar solos are also panned in the 88 version, like weirdly, like weird panning positions. Overall, it's just a very interesting, eclectic mix, and it's kind of fun from an engineering perspective to listen to. Is it like the perfect audiophile, like everything is done correctly version? No, it's not, and I understand why some people would like the remaster because of that, but I like the character of the 88 version, I gotta say. I can hear the guitars better on the 2004 version as well. They do a similar thing as they do on Set the World Afire, which is interesting. So that is my breakdown of both the masters for So Far So Good So What by Megadeth. Very interesting differences. Unlike Peace Sells, where I think the remaster is an abomination, this one I could see fans liking the 2004 remaster for some obvious reasons. Increased clarity, fidelity, more mid-range. You can actually hear what's going on. I totally understand that. For me, I still pick 88 because of the vibe and the feel. It's recorded back then. It's supposed to sound like it's from 1988. That's when it was recorded. And I just love the weird atmosphere of the record. But in a comment down below, let me know after listening, which record you prefer to listen to. Did you get the original? Have you all only heard the remaster? I'd like to hear your thoughts in a comment down below. You can see all my other breakdowns of albums remasters up in that playlist there. Go ahead and check them out. Thanks so much for watching. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time.